The California Assessment of Student Performance in Progress, or CAASPP, which has replaced the Standardized Test and Reporting, STAR, is the new state academic testing program. CAASPP is a system intended to provide information that can be used to monitor student progress and ensure that all students leave high school ready for college and career. Common Core state standards are designed to meet the goal of all students leaving high school ready for college and career. CAASPP utilizes 3 different components that work in cohesion to achieve this goal. The summative part represents the yearly CAASPP testing of standards in language arts and math. The interim part provides assessments throughout the year to help inform instruction. And the digital library holds a vast amount of instructional resources for teachers. The CAASPP assessments match the skills that prepare students for college and career readiness. Our previous STAR assessments only addressed depth of knowledge levels 1 and 2, while CAASPP assesses all 4 levels. Level 1 is recall reproduction. Students can recall a fact, information, or procedure. They process information on a low level. Level 2, skill and concept. Students use information or conceptual knowledge. They can execute 2 or more steps to a solution. Level 3, strategic thinking. Students reason or develop a plan or a sequence of steps because there's more than one reasonable approach. And they must be able to explain what they think and why. Level 4, extended thinking. Students make connections between different concepts. They extend and build on knowledge of a situation to arrive at a conclusion. Students use reason and logic to justify their conclusions. Solve the following math problem. A pie was divided into fifths. Emily ate 1/5 of the pie. Tony ate 2/5 of the pie. Jenny ate 1/5 of the pie. How much of the pie was left? This example is the typical math problem of the old STAR test. Generally, the STAR math questions represented a depth of knowledge of 1 and 2 only, where students needed to remember and apply a learned procedure to solve the problem. Or they could just make a guess. Solve the following math problem here. A rectangle is 6 feet long and has a perimeter of 20 feet. What is the width of this rectangle? Explain how you solve this problem. This example is the type of problem a student may see on the CAASPP. CAASPP questions will address depth of knowledge levels 1 through 4. You'll notice this sample requires a depth of knowledge level 3. To complete this problem, students will need to not only use a learned procedure, but they will also need to explain how the procedure works. And students can't just guess the answer. So what are the differences? The pie problem from STAR is a direct recall of a procedure, or again, the student can simply guess. The rectangle problem from CAASPP is asking students to not only solve a problem, but they must also understand and explain how the chosen procedure works. This type of problem is more rigorous and it requires students to gain a deeper understanding of the content. Here's a typical informational text sample from a 4th grade STAR reading test. These are 2 typical questions that accompany the STAR text. In order to answer these questions, students only need to skim the text to find the answer, or they might be able to simply recall what the text said. This is an example of depth of knowledge level 1. Here are 2 typical 4th grade CAASPP reading example questions. The students read an informational text excerpt, just like the STAR test. However, the depth of knowledge required to answer the questions is much higher. Not only do students need to read the text, they must also think about and analyze the text to make judgments. This is a depth of knowledge level 3. Here's another CAASPP reading text and question example. The students need to read and understand the text deeply enough in order to determine the most reasonable inferences about author's intent. This task requires a depth of knowledge level 3. And finally, another ELA CAASPP example that goes beyond comprehension. Here, They're given the inference, and students must identify the text example that best supports the inference. This depth of knowledge level 3 question requires students to not only be able to read and understand the text, but be able to analyze and determine the best option. The CST and STAR test addressed 5 achievement levels with a depth of knowledge 1 and 2, and it was a paper and pencil test. The new SBAC or CAASPP tests will have 4 achievement levels, and it'll address depths of knowledge 1 through 4. It's an online and adaptive test. The results represent the student as a Common Core learner. The first year results are a baseline for us, and results are expected to improve over time. The following bar graph depicts the estimated percentage of students at each achievement level based on the Smarter Balanced 2013-14 field test results. Please notice how many students are projected to be at levels 1 and 2. So last spring, Smarter Balanced conducted a field test in 21 states. Based on that data, they've estimated the anticipated student performance within the 4 achievement levels. Approximately 60% or more students will fall into the level 1 or level 2 achievement levels. Please keep in mind, the Smarter Balanced field test determines student achievement level as a Common Core learner. This data does not mean our students are performing lower than previous years. On the contrary, this data is our projected baseline indicator of student performance measured against a much higher standard. So to put it simply, the Common Core expectations for college and career readiness are higher than the previous benchmarks measured by STAR. Initial test results will represent a new baseline that provides a more accurate indicator for educators, students, and parents as they work to meet the rigorous demands of college and career readiness. It is important to note that the first round of CAASPP scores cannot be compared to scores that your child previously received on the STAR program tests because this test is based on new Common Core state standards, involves different types of test questions, and the results will not be reported using the STAR program reporting categories. So what does this mean for our students? We have new content standards set higher expectations for our students. CAASPP asks students to analyze and make connections, synthesize multiple and complex texts, present ideas in a variety of formats, create thoughtful responses. Expectations for student achievement are higher than they used to be, and this is a significant and important change from the multiple choice assessments we've been giving for years. So what can you do to help? To learn more about the types of questions on the computer-based test, you and your child can view the practice tests online at the California Department of Education Smarter Balanced Practice Test webpage. If you would like more information, please visit the Parent-Student tab of the CDE CAASPP webpage.